Michael, I don't like our next guest. I'll say it. We were forced to have him on the show by Adobe. It's in the contract. And he forced me to do this podcast. And I'm not a fan of his work or his attitude. And I'm, dreading doing this show with him coming up right now. And if you're listening, you're gonna hear me complain to his face because I'm not gonna let bullies stand up to me, Michael. Michael, I'm serious. He's a bully. He made me do this podcast. I don't want to do this podcast. I'm forced to do it. And I literally see his face right now. I see his face, and it's what we have to deal with. Michael, hold me back. There, I'm going to give you cue signs. If I'm about to lunge at him, you're going to have to hold me back, okay? All right, everybody, ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for BRETT DAVERN. Ladies and gentlemen, I have BRETT DAVERN with me in the studio.
What's up? What's up?
BRETT, you know what? I can't lie to you.
Oh.
I'm a little upset.
You can't lie. You're an actor. You lie for a living.
I'm upset, BRETT.
Why are you upset?
Because I quit the podcasting game years ago.
Yeah.
And you pulled me back in.
Every time I think I'm out, they pull me back in. I did. It's because you're so damn good at it.
It's true.
I'm not
going
saying
to
that.
argue with you there.
I'm not just saying that because there's a poster with your name on it behind my head.
How
you actually are good at it.
Am I Wesam's World with that name? Right?
That's all right. I got 4 posters in here with my name all over it. So
we need that, man. Otherwise, yeah. How many shows do you have on right now?
Well, currently I'm producing 5 podcasts,
right,
and radio shows. Yeah,
and we're part of the family.
You
podcast family.
You're part of the family
of Nice Guy Digital, airing on Adobe Radio.
Yep,
it's a pleasure. Seriously,
thanks, man. Well, I mean, you want to get into that? You want to talk about that?
No.
Are we going? We're going, right?
We're not going to get into that, man. Anyway, no.
I mean, well, it's just I don't know. I mean, we've never really like kind of talked about like the story of all of this, really, whether it's on our show or any of the other shows. So I don't know. We can chat about that if you want.
Yeah. So while I was doing my podcast, Actors Anonymous, years ago, you came to me at some point. It was probably in the last quarter of it being alive, and you were like, "Hey, how do you do your show?"
Actually, I think you actually kind of came to me, and what happened was, I remember being on set of Awkward, the show that we used to do together on MTV back in the day.
What was it called?
It was called Awkward. Hey. Sam and I are both former MTV heartthrobs.
You're the heartthrob.
No.
I'm the weird guy with the black nail polish on the show.
Hey, man. Listen, some people are into that. Anyway, I remember we were standing around, whatever, just one of the days, and you said, "Hey, I want you to be on my podcast." I think your podcast was already up and running. And I was like, "Wait, what? You have a podcast?" And you were like, "Yeah, I've been doing it, and I have these guests and whatever." And I just remember, because I've always been a huge fan of radio my whole life. I remember I got a, I don't even know what it would be really called, like a boombox. Well, like a boombox with a microphone, and it had like dual cassette slots. You could put 2 cassette tapes in, and you could press play on one side and then record on the other side, and you could talk into a microphone. And this was when I was a kid, when I was like 10 years old or something. Yeah, way back in the day. I remember like starting. I used to make my own radio shows in my bedroom, and I've always just been a huge fan of radio. And I would stay up late at night and listen to shows like Loveline, and I would listen to Howard Stern in the morning, and listen to a lot of sports radio. So always talk radio. I just love talk radio. And so I remember when you said, "Hey, do you want to be on my podcast?" I had already been a fan of podcasts forever, and had been so wildly jealous of anyone who had their own podcast, because that's all I wanted. I just didn't know how to go about it. And I remember looking at you and being like, well, if this guy can do it,
right?
than anyone can. No, but I was very impressed, and I just was like, wow, that's awesome. Of course I want to be on your podcast. And so then I think we did that, and that was kind of the first step. And then I think I just started picking your brain of like, well, but how are you doing it? Like,
Yeah.
because, you know, with technology, like anyone can just start talking into their iPhone on like voice notes, and you could post that. That could
Right.
be a podcast. But to get one that, you know, sounds good and sounds professional, all these things, there's a lot of logistics to it. So I just started asking you, like, it's great that you have a podcast, but like, actually, how do you do it? You know? And
Yeah.
that was sort of the jumping off point, because honestly, like, you're the inspiration for this entire thing. Like, it's all coming full circle with you now
yes.
back doing your podcast.
Say that one more time.
It's true. No, it's 100. It's 100.
Thank you.
$1,000,000% true. Like, I do a morning show on Adobe Radio 5 days a week, every single morning now. I would not be doing that if it was not for Wesam Quiche and that first being on your podcast the first time, and now that you're back doing a podcast, it's totally come full circle.
You know, Brett, it's hard being me, and it's hard being as amazing it is. You know what's so funny? Our first two guests have been very kind with
Yeah.
their words about me, and
Yeah.
I feel like our new listeners for this show are going to be like, is this show just where Wesam brings on people who really like him? And
No, don't get me wrong. I do
No.
think you're a piece of shit.
Thank you.
It's just that
yes.
I wouldn't be doing my radio show if it wasn't for you.
You know what? I like that clarification.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that.
Yeah. I don't like you. I'm just happy at what you've allowed me to have.
And I'm okay with that.
Yeah, in true LA fashion.
So basically,
I
I'm your
don't-
daddy.
Yeah.
I'm Brett's daddy.
In true
Everybody-
LA fashion, I don't actually like you. It's just what you can do for me is what I like about you.
Perfect. I'm your mommy and your daddy. This is weird.
Whoa, what?
What?
What is happening?
I'm so happy that you actually went with it, though.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Yeah.
I feel like that's a lot of people's problems nowadays.
Sure.
They'll get this great advice, or they'll have steps A, B, and C, and D to do something, and then they just won't do it.
Right.
And that drives me up a wall.
Well, and it's also which I think I had. Wait, let me back. Oh, man, I went out drinking last night. I have to admit, I have to. It's just, my brain's
don't-
My
if
brain
you're
is
not-
so fuzzy right now.
If you
I'm trying
watch-
to put my thoughts together.
Hold on. If you're watching the YouTube video, I actually saw in Brett's eyes like just this, holy shit, this blank stare for a split second. Like, hey, where am I?
Yeah. Well, it's just weird being in this. I'm in this studio 5 days a week, and like I keep forgetting what day it is, and mix on top of that like a slight hangover. Anyway, okay, so what were we talking about? Oh, people not following through. Hold on. No, I think that
Oh my gosh.
you know, I have to kind of kick my own ass for a second because, you know, saying all that stuff about being a fan of radio and all that, and all that's really true. And I wanted my own podcast or my own radio show or whatever it was. I didn't know what it would be, but I wanted all that stuff. But I always let some sort of fear get in the way and be an excuse for like why I wasn't doing it. I would go like, I really want to do it, but I don't really know how. So I can't. Or I really want to do it, but I'm not very good at computers and stuff, and I don't know. Like all these like kids now, they can edit stuff. They do all these. I mean, there's kids like doing VFX with like iMovie and stuff. I don't know the first thing. I barely know how to tweet. That's not even me playing a character. Like I really am not very good with all that stuff. And so there was always some sort of excuse for why I wasn't doing a podcast yet.
Yeah.
You know, and in talking to you and the kind of person that you are, which I think your audience is getting to know, and they definitely would know this if they listen to your former show. It's like you are like a no bullshit kind of guy. You're like, no, stop all the excuses, do it.
Yeah.
And that's what you said to me. We started to have like lunches and stuff like after, you know, being a guest on your show and whatever, and we formed like a friendship, and you were just like your poster just fell off the wall.
How symbolic is that?
Yeah. Just leave it. Just leave it.
No, man, I'm putting it up.
All right.
Is it-
There you go. No, there you go.
Put it
Yeah.
right here.
There you go. Perfect.
Here you go. Coming up.
Anyway, you're just the kind of guy who's like enough excuses.
Yeah.
And I needed that in that moment, and that was the right thing to hear. And I think that there's a lot of people out there that have big dreams and have big ambitions and want to be doing these things, but don't kind of know that first step to take. And I think in doing all of this and in learning from doing all this, I think the first step to take is to just take a step.
Yes.
Whatever that is.
I understand, too, people's fears of being embarrassed or looking stupid or failing or putting so much time and effort into something and then it doesn't work out, and then you feel like people are judging you or people think you're a failure. I get all those fears, and every single one of those experiences has happened to me more times than I can count.
Sure.
And you get to a point where you're just like, you know what? I don't fucking care anymore about anybody else's, any other person's opinion. If they're like, you failed, or I'm not embarrassed anymore. No. I love, in fact, now feeling that or experiencing something in the white belt mentality. I think in the first podcast or the first show I did, I talked about I'm taking surfing lessons, and I'm not good in the ocean. I can swim, but it's very intimidating to me. So I love that feeling.
Being in the surf is much different than being in a swimming pool.
Yeah. And so I just think a lot of people just need to sometimes just, you know what, bite the bullet, fail, and then sometimes that's the best way to learn something.
I think the older I get, I think what I came to realize is that even if you do take that first step and it sucks, like whatever you're trying at, you're not good at, and you fail and whatever, then you can just learn from it and then take another step a couple weeks later. Like I think people, they start fast forwarding in their head a little too much about like, oh man, I want to write a screenplay, but on page 1 they're trying to think about page 60, and so then they can't write page 1 because they're thinking about page 60. And it's the same thing with like a radio show. It's like, well, if I start it, then what's the format? And then if I don't get the format right on episode 1, then how am I ever going to get to episode 30? And it's like, no, just start the radio show and figure out the format as you're going, because that's a fun evolution anyway, and you'll figure it out. And even if you don't figure it out, like whatever, but at least you tried, you know?
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
Did any of that make sense?
Yes, and we live in a time where you can literally look up anything on YouTube and figure out how to do it. Yeah. And if your excuse is, I don't have enough money, that's not an excuse.
Yeah, I'm sick of hearing that excuse from everybody.
Man, unless you're literally like begging on the street.
Right.
You can't really say that. And also, yes, at the same time, you have to be responsible with what you spend on. Like, let's say you do want to start a podcast. Don't go buy out $8,000 worth of equipment.
No.
Because you're an idiot.
Right.
That's not financially responsible.
You have to be realistic, but you also, I think a lot of people, when they take that first step, they want to take such a first step that they're completely set up, completely running. It's popular. A lot of people are listening. You're viral, and all these things. It's like, no, you have to walk before you can run. You have to practice. It's that like 10,000 hours of practice philosophy. It's like, just instead of buying the $8,000 worth of equipment, buy a $100 microphone. And most people today have a laptop. Most people do, just because from going to college or high school, whatever, or your parents' computer, whatever, and just plug that $100 microphone into a computer and away you go. Or, like I said, everyone's got a phone that probably has some sort of voice notes app on it, and you can talk into that, and you can post that as a podcast.
Yes.
And you'll learn as you go along, and the equipment will come. You'll turn around. Like, you start doing a podcast with no money, no budget at all, no nothing. If you can keep it going, and if you can stay consistent at it, you'll turn around 3 years from now, and you'll have $8,000 worth of equipment, and you'll be like, where did I get all this? I guess I just sort of acquired it over time, and here I am, and now I'm up and running, and away we go.
I've got a great story for my first time ever recording my first podcast.
I'll be the judge of whether it's a great story or not, okay?
This guy, I can't stand him. Michael, how much time do we have left? Can you fake a technical
How much time do we have left? The whole point of your show is...
All right, guys, we are out. Thanks for coming on, Brett. It was such a blast.
So I'm the only guest who's ever gotten a time limit on this thing? Wesam's whole pitch for the show was like, hey, man, I want to come back and do a podcast, but I don't want any time limits. Yeah. If we talk for 3 hours, we talk for 3 hours. Now I come in, I've been here 10 minutes, you're kicking me out?
Yeah, man.
All right,
surprise.
What's your great story?
So... I'm recording my first ever podcast on Actors Anonymous, and I'm in the studio. There's a sound engineer, my producer, and I'm doing it in a format where I start off the show and I'm just talking by myself. And I haven't practiced.
Right.
I've been focused more on the pre-production of everything, and finally, I'm in the nice studio. Asked a lot of favors.
Yeah.
And I'm in there. I got the microphone, the headset. Give the thumbs up to the sound engineer. My producer's like, thumbs up. And I'm in there. I've got my little sheet of paper.
Sure.
And nothing comes out.
Yeah.
Literally nothing. And there's this like long pause, and I look over at my producer, and he's just like, hands up in the air.
Yeah.
Like, what's the matter? And I'm like, 1 second. And like I go off into the hallway, and I just start scribbling. Just scribbling my notes, like my because I had like what I wanted to talk about.
Like actually writing, or
yeah,
you mean
actually
like,
writing.
Uh-huh.
Like what I wanted to say.
Right.
And then going back in, I'm like, I'm ready.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
And then I'm just reading off a piece of paper, trying to make it sound natural.
Right. Right.
Anyway, yeah, that was my first story.
No, I mean, yeah,
It was horrible. But dude, I was like sweating in there.
but okay. My first ever audition.
Yeah.
First ever audition. I think I was 18. This was in Seattle, where I grew up. I'd been in high school theater.
Right.
Been doing things all the way through high school. I went to summer camps in the summer for theater. So I've been acting, but like in a very safe environment for a long time. And
Yeah, and not acting well. But yeah, go ahead.
who you been talking to? Listen, I had rave reviews as Jack in Into the Woods sophomore year. Okay, rave
whoa.
reviews.
You were in Into the Woods?
Of course.
There are giants in the sky.
Hey. I'll do the singing around here. No. Yeah, that's the song, yeah. Anyway, wait. So, I was like 18, was getting out of high school, and I had headshots that had been taken, like black and white headshots. You okay? Is this a bad story? Was that his way of saying, don't tell this story?
We're out of time.
Oh,
no, I'm kidding. Go ahead.
No, so...
choking.
Are you all right?
We're good now. We're good.
Well, listen. This I don't know. We're going in 1,000 different directions. I'll get back to the story in a second. Wesam drinks from a cup that looks like it's just dried oregano in there with a straw in it. So the fact that he's coughing right now is not a shock to me.
I have pieces of yerba mate in my esophagus.
Yerba mate. These kids these days. Anyway, all right.
Tell me your awesome story about being Jack.
Listen, I have got a fantastic story for you.
Oh, so excited. Everybody, listen up. Brett's story coming up.
No, so I had headshots. And so what I did is like, and I think, I don't know if this is the way you kind of still do it, but back in the day, what you would do is you have 100 headshots printed out, and you load up some manila envelopes with like a cover letter, and because you got no agent, you got no manager, you're not in the union yet, nothing. And I just mailed them to like every casting, I'm using air quotes, casting director, agent, manager, whatever, in the Seattle area. Which, there's not like much of the entertainment business up in Seattle. There's actually a lot more now than there was back then. But anyway, so I mailed them all out. Got a couple calls from, different agents, managers being like, yeah, come on in, we'll have a meeting, whatever. But I got a call from a casting director that was like, oh, we're having auditions like tomorrow for this movie that's going to be shooting up here in Seattle. Movie turns out to be The Ring, the original The Ring. Wow. Remember that horror movie? And so they were looking for a couple local hires, under 5 lines, probably, maybe even no lines. I don't even know. But they were like, we're having auditions tomorrow. Why don't you come on in?
Cool.
So I said, okay, great. So I go in, and I thought I knew what I was doing, just like you were saying. You think you know what you're doing. You get the sides, which is the little couple pages of script that you're going to read. And I went in, and they do the whole thing, and I introduce myself, and I'm with the casting director, and they start to read the scene. And I thought I was doing okay, and then it ends, and she just looks up, and she's like, listen. She's like, have you done this before? And I was like, yeah, of course. Like trying to be like, of course, I do this all the time. Looking back, I should have just said no, but I was like, yeah, I do this all the time. She's like, well, okay, you're fine when you're saying your line, but then when it's my line, you're like looking down and like reading, and you're like not listening, and I could tell that you're very green. And, she was being nice about it, but she was like, you need to take some classes, and she was being nice. She wasn't being mean about it. She was actually trying to be like helpful. And I just remember walking out of there being like, oh man, like everything I thought I knew, I don't know anything. I gotta, but that's the first audition. But you gotta go on the first audition. That's the thing. Like, you can't just sit at home going like, it's not gonna go well, so I just won't go. It's like, just go. What's the worst that's gonna happen? I didn't die. I didn't.
Right.
I'm not physically harmed by it. I'm not even mentally. I'm not emotionally scarred by it either. I learned from it. Every experience you have in life, there's something to be gained from it. You'll learn something.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about just humans in general. They just want to knock it out of the park and on the first go.
I know. And look, there's some people out there, you hear stories of actors that, I got to LA, I booked my first 3 jobs, or first 3 auditions I went on or whatever. And like, that's great.
Yeah, but
it doesn't happen to the vast majority of people.
Okay. I'm going to clear up that premonition is not the right word.
Myth.
That myth. Premonition is not the right word at all.
That's not the right word.
No, I'm thinking about the ring still. Premonition.
Who let you host a podcast?
I don't know. Some guy with great hair.
Who gave you a podcast? Go ahead.
No, like, yeah, there are people who come out to LA, yes.
Yeah.
Who will book a huge thing.
Yeah.
And then they're on the top of the world, right?
Yep.
Very, very rarely, maybe like 0.01% of those people have a sustained career as an actor.
I'd say that's true.
Dude, I've said this before. I'm so glad I booked this series regular role on For the People when I did.
Yeah.
And not a year ago or 2 years ago or 3 years ago or 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Definitely would not have been ready, acting-wise or mentally or professionally.
That's interesting. Yeah, I agree with that. Yep.
Imagine you booking like a Awkward. How soon into LA did you book Awkward?
I think I was here for 3 or 4 years, but I had lived in New York for about 4 years before that.
Okay, so you were.
So I mean, I was already like auditioning professionally for maybe like 6 years.
Okay.
By the time Awkward came along, so I mean, it had been a while.
So let's say your first year in New York, you book it Awkward. Imagine what that would have been like.
One, I'd be super famous right now, so that'd be nice. I'd be more wealthy than I am.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm super wealthy, but like,
Yeah. You'd be in tax bracket.
Oh, man. I would have been such a dick. I would have just been such.
You mean more?
Oh, yeah.
More than.
Oh, yeah. You think I'm bad now? Ugh. Oh, imagine.
I saw the way you were yelling at Katie earlier. Like yelling at her. Everybody listening?
Yeah.
He was yelling at
screaming. I'm a tyrant.
It's Bluetooth.
I think I would have definitely not been able to handle that at all.
No way.
Just the ego would have never been able to be in check.
Or
at
when
all.
you were in high school booking something huge.
Oh
my God.
No way.
Nah, I'd be one of those child celebrity stories on that end up going.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
Real quick.
I wouldn't have been ready for that at all. And the burnout factor is huge as well. And I think like you get started that young. It's, and you start to have thoughts of like, is this what I even really want to do anyway? Like by the time I got Awkward, I was very secure in like, this is the path I want to be taking. And so, it's easier to stick with it at that point.
I love acting and I love podcasting as well. Because I just love having great conversations with people and just really getting into the nitty gritty of certain things.
I'd say you have conversations with people. There he goes with that great word again. Jeez.
What's that, Michael? Technical difficulties?
Oh,
that's the show, ladies and gentlemen.
There we go again.
Man. Well, maybe we'll have you on.
I'm just kidding.
I know. That's why we love each other, Brett.
We do.
But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, man. With I did 105 episodes of Actors Anonymous, and I became myself a better actor and just a better person. Even after having these conversations with these professionals, who are actors, directors, writers, etc., and I realized, oh my God, these people are going through the same struggles I'm going through, and I'm not alone in this. And I was like, oh my God, this podcast has not only benefited my listeners, but it benefited me in ways that I wasn't even expecting.
I remember, so
it's selfish. That's why I'm doing the podcast. It's for me to better myself.
Well, I think that. I mean, everything in life has a tinge of selfishness to it, a little, I think.
Yeah.
And that's okay. I remember when we started, because my show, the show that we do in the morning, I did a podcast before that. So the podcast that you help inspire starting originally, I was doing with just two buddies of mine, and we would get together on Sundays at this studio, and we would record like 4 episodes in a day, and have guests in and friends that are actors and whatever, and they'd come in and sit down, and we'd have conversations. And
Dude, by the way, I'm sorry to interrupt. I don't know how you did that.
yeah, I actually looking back on it,
4 episodes in one day.
looking back on it, I kind of don't know how we did it either. We were pretty wiped out by the 4th one.
Oh God.
But we would do like 4 in a day so that we would only have to come in like once a month. So we would release them, 1 a week over the next few weeks, and then we'd come back in and record 4 more, and then on and on and on. And I remember that when right when we first started it, because there's a lot of logistics that go into starting a show like this. Especially if you want it to be successful, you got to get a Twitter account, you got to get an email address, you got to start talking to publicists and making connections so you can get guests to come in if you're doing a guest-based show. And there's all this like behind-the-scenes stuff to do. So I was doing all of that for the first podcast, and I remember I was just so busy with the podcast and with this like sort of monster that I created for myself of this podcast that the auditions I was going on all of a sudden I started doing a lot better in them, and because I wasn't really thinking about them as much, to be honest. Not that I wasn't prepared, or not that I wasn't doing my homework before I went in there, but that I was just kind of like, even in the waiting room, thinking about like the podcast a little bit. And so you're not like, every audition wasn't as precious as it had been. I wasn't holding on to it, squeezing the life out of it before I even got in the room, because I had this other thing I was working on. And I think it's, I tell everyone who moves out here to be an actor, they say, what's the advice you have? Or what's an advice you have for young actor, whatever? How do I get started? All these things. And I go, look, get yourself in class. Take it seriously. Surround yourself with a good community of other artists and positive people and all these kinds of things and that kind of advice. But then the last thing I always tell them is I say, but also have a hobby that's not acting.
Yes.
Do something else. Put your mind and I get that the podcast is sort of in the world of the entertainment business, but it was just something that I could focus attention on that wasn't just auditioning. And I remember I think I booked like a little arc on Major Crimes like right away. And I really do think it was because I was doing a podcast and like not so worried about every audition, because I was like, I have this other thing that's fulfilling me too.
Yeah.
And now I don't have to worry about each one of them as much. And I don't know. It's been great. I love it.
I think having a hobby or anything else you do funnels into acting.
Sure.
For me, it does anyway.
Yeah.
I did archery for a little bit. I want to get back into it. I haven't done it in a while.
Archery, really?
I know.
That's interesting.
The closest range is like 40 minutes away at least.
Really?
Yes.
Well, there's like 12 gun ranges within like a mile of here.
I know.
No bows and arrows, though.
I might just do a gun range then.
It would be kind of funny if you showed up at a gun range with a bow and arrow, and so then like if the movie of your life, if the camera's tracking down the line of all these guys and girls shooting guns, and then it gets to you and you just have a bow and arrow, it'd be amazing. But you still have the headphones on and the safety goggles and everything. It'd be amazing.
It'd be a little difficult collecting the arrows afterwards. For sure.
You'd have to give a yeah.
Please don't shoot.
You'd have to let them know. You'd have to like sound an alarm or something.
Oh,
yeah, or it'd be the craziest agility exercise of all time.
So, are you doing any hobbies? Speaking of hobbies, right now.
Well, that's kind of what I'm saying. I think is that the podcasting and these radio shows, I think, sort of becomes the hobby, which is, I guess it's a little against my own advice.
No, I think,
but
it's become more of a hobby than you realize, maybe.
Yeah. I like to tinker, man. I'm a tinkerer. I love to tinker. I think you and I are similar in like we have like a little bit of the perfectionist type thing,
yeah.
But I like the minutia of things. I like having something like I build stuff around the house. Like I fancy myself a bit of a handy guy. I'm not amazing at stuff, but I can fix things and I can build things, and I can. Right now, I'm building a deck in the backyard, like an actual.
Are you serious?
Deck? Yeah.
Wow.
And I love doing stuff like that. But I think the podcast and the radio shows are similar to the deck. It's like you get your materials, then you stand back and you look at it and you go, I got to trim this piece here. I got to, screw this piece down to this piece here. Oh, that's a little wobbly. Let me go back in and fix that. And the podcast is the same thing. And all the radio shows is the same thing. It's like the raw materials would be like you and the other hosts and the microphones and the studio and all those things. And then you guys stand back and you go, okay, Wesam's going to do kind of a long form interview show. Like, okay, we got that piece there. And then our other buddy Aaron does a TV centric one here. And so we got that piece there. And then I like the tinkering of it, like the fine tuning of it. And that's kind of fits my personality. And so I love it. I love that. I think that's when I'm most happy, is when I'm just like in the garage pounding away on some wood or whatever, or, you know, here, like with the constant tinkering of like the posters on the back wall, or like, oh, these should be hung here, or this. I don't know. I love that.
I agree with you. We do have
I'm never
similar
satisfied.
tendencies. And I think one of our similar tendencies is certain pet peeves.
Oh, yeah.
And I just remember like one of our pet peeves we share is like whenever like somebody tells us, oh, cool, like this will be for sure ready by this time. Like, don't worry about it. I was like, are you sure? By this time? Awesome. Great. And then that time comes along and they're like, oh, cool, where is it? Oh, yeah, we didn't get it done.
Ugh.
Well, you told me it was good. Why didn't you tell me earlier? Yeah. Oh, yeah, it happened 2 days ago. I just haven't had time to tell you.
Oh, dude, okay. Yes. Can I tell a story to build on that? To put a point on that? This happened last night. Well, I got a couple things. Okay, all right. My brain. You know, does this happen to you where your brain goes faster than your mouth? So then you're having like 3 different conversations with yourself in your brain, but the person you're sitting across like can't hear them. So then you're like,
you know when that happens
pick
is when
one.
I'm in front of somebody I really admire.
Yeah.
And I look up to. That's when it happens.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that's not what's happening to me right now.
That's that's weird.
Are you out of time again?
Michael, we out of time. We've been out of time 4 times.
All right, so last night, this is just last night, we go out with my brother's in town. And so we go out with a group of friends, and we go to this bar, and it's a karaoke bar. And everyone's having a drink, and we're going to sing some karaoke, and we're going to have some fun. It's a pretty crowded place. And, at karaoke places, you can put your name in, and you can sit there for like 2 hours before you even get up there. And that wait stinks. And also, I don't know if we're going to be there that long, right?
Right.
And as I've mentioned before, I'm super rich. So I go walking up to the DJ guy, and I take out a fresh 10, and I put it in his tip jar. And I'm like, hey, man, I want to sign up. Because that's how you get bumped up the list. I mean, that's just how it works. And that's fine. A little gratuity helps you out. Big deal. So I go walking up with the guy. I'm like, hey, man, I want to put in a song. Da-da-da. And it was my buddy Marty, who you know. And
No.
who I did. Yes.
Marty who?
Shut up.
No, I want to know his full name.
Marty Shannon.
No.
Yeah, you know him.
I know an artist who sings that song. What is it? Blow away with me.
Get away.
Come away, or is it get away? Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
Marty's a musician friend of mine that we used to do the old
Right.
podcast together. Anyway, so he was with us. So him and I were going to sing a duet of Bruno Mars's Uptown Funk.
Oh.
So I go up to the guy and I put a 10 in his tip jar, and I said, hey man, I want to sign up Marty and Brett to sing Bruno Mars. And the guy goes, oh, all right, like you'll be up in 3 people. I was like, great, sweet. So the tip worked. I was like, this is awesome. So we go sit back down, and everyone's hanging out, and like song after song after song after song after song after song goes by, and I'm like, I'm not like upset, like, oh, I gave that guy money or anything like that. I'm just sitting there kind of going like, what's up, So I'm like, I'm gonna go ask him again. So this time I take out a 5. And I go walking up, and I put the 5 in the tip jar, and I'm like, hey, man, what happened to Uptown Funk with Brett and Marty? And he goes, oh, yeah, I don't have that song. And I was like, wait, what? And now, look, I'm not one of these guys who's like, hey, he should have came and found me and told me. It's a crowded bar. It's karaoke night, whatever. But, hey, he gets on the microphone between every song. He can't just go like, Brett or Marty also, can you just come up here real quick? Great. Because he's been doing that all night, calling people up. Just tell me. Right?
I'm so annoyed right now.
So then I go, all right, well, we'll switch it to we switch to a different song. And he goes, all right, cool, you'll be up in 2 people. And then he put us up in 2 people, and we did the song. But I was like, dude, I mean, come on. Like, The place we're at, let me explain for all the people out there that are like, man, Brett's like what a jerk.
No,
the thing
no.
is the place we're at is small. There's like maybe 50 people there. It's not hard to just wave and be like, hey, I can't find your song.
That annoys me.
But it goes along with what you were saying with where people, like it's a pet peeve where like people are like, they're going to do something for you or whatever. And then instead of telling you that they can't get it done, they just kind of don't do it. And you're like,
no, I'm going to go on a rant right now.
uh-oh.
Okay.
I'm sitting back. I'm pushing the microphone away.
This is the kind of shit that just drives me up a fucking wall. This is why. I was driving yesterday, okay? It's people who are inconsiderate.
Yeah.
Other human beings, other living organisms in the world around them. Let's take driving, for example, okay? Yesterday, there's a guy just stopped. Just stopped in a one-way road in an entryway into a neighborhood.
Oh, right.
Okay?
Yeah.
And there's construction equipment on one side, and I'm behind him.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can't see in front of him. And I'm like, what's going on? And then finally, I take my head out the window, because we've been there forever, and I see there's nothing in front of him.
Yeah.
He's just waiting on somebody, apparently. Uber driver.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And I give him a honk.
Yeah.
And he's like, and then he pulls to the side, but he still has half his fucking stupid car.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh man, in my heart of hearts, I wish I could have like gotten out of my car, went to him, hi, give me your license.
Yeah.
You don't get to drive anymore,
yeah.
sir.
Yeah. No, I know. Look, this is now turning into just two guys ranting about traffic.
Oh my gosh, it's inconsiderate people. Why couldn't he just pull completely to the side?
Let me give you a moving example of when the cars are moving and people are being inconsiderate. And this is my number. This one makes me seethe, dude. This one just really. Oh, this one oh man, if I could push a button and just make these people just disappear off the face of the planet, I would. When you are in a line of traffic in LA, whether side street, freeway, whatever, and your lane slows down because there's something up ahead, there's a problem, there's a disabled car, something is in the road making everybody in this lane that you're in stop. And let's say you're like 4 cars back from whatever the disabled vehicle is, right? And everyone comes up and comes to a stop. Everybody behind you pulls out around you so fast that you can't pull out and get around whatever is stopped, and they're just pulling out and whizzing around, pulling out, whizzing around, pulling out, whizzing around, pulling out, whizzing around, and you're just sitting there going, I can't go because you guys are all going around me at 70 miles an hour, and I'll get killed if I put my nose out there. Why does the person in back of you not just go a little slower around you, which would let everyone get around the disabled vehicle? Okay. Instead, they're just like, I'm just going to go around and whiz past everybody, and you're just stuck sitting there. Okay. It drives me insane. And then when I finally do get my moment to go, because now I said there's 3 or 4 cars in front of me behind the disabled vehicle as well, and then when it's finally my turn to go, because I'm a saint, I do it nice and slow, and I block the traffic for a split second for everybody in front of me to be able to go. Okay. Because that's just nice. Let's all if everyone just changed the way they drove, society would change.
I need more safe but aggressive driving, in terms of, I don't want somebody taking their casual drive out on the town on a rush hour morning. Right. And leaving 10 car spaces in front of them on the highway. Right. Okay? Yeah, I know it doesn't really extend my or decrease my arrival time. I get that. But at the same time, it's like, if everybody starts doing that, we're leaving 20 car spaces in front of you.
Buddy, you cannot text and drive without leaving that much space, though. This is the thing. I don't know where this podcast is going, but now it's just becoming... No, I'm going. I drive... Katie and I... So Katie LeClaire and I, she produces and co-hosts the morning show with me every morning on Adobe Radio, 7 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Eastern. Anyway, live. You can tune in live. We give away prizes and stuff. You guys should check it out. Anyway, listen. We carpool every morning to the studio, so it's 7 a.m. on the West Coast. So we get here at 6 a.m. to do, pre-production, whatever, talk over the show, whatever, set everything up. We leave we live real close to each other in town as well, so we carpool, and we leave there at 5:30 in the morning.
There's still a little traffic on there.
There's traffic, and also it's a little dark, right?
Yeah.
And dark out when you're driving is the easiest way to see everyone who's texting and driving because their faces are lit up by their phones, and you can see their phones lit up because it's dark. And we see people that take their phones and then put on a YouTube video, turn their phones sideways, and then put their phones in front of their speedometers.
Hey.
And drive down the freeway watching TV.
Hey, if you do that, get captured. Okay?
Like, what is happening?
If you do that, if you're listening, get captured.
What is happening? It's crazy. And I have the solution. Do you know what the solution is, Wesam?
So what's the solution?
I have the solution to all this.
Okay.
To lazy driving, I have the solution.
Go ahead.
Manual shift cars.
Thank you very much.
Stick shift cars is the solution. What happened was, somewhere along the line, someone invented the automatic transmission, and everyone went, oh, this is great. The car switches gears for me. This is amazing. And it is. It's fantastic. But what now all you have to do is press the gas or the brake and then steer. That's all you got to do. So your hands are free to do some other things, and you get distracted. And then you just coast because, like, the car will shift for me. I don't have to actually. When you have a manual, which I don't have, but when I drive manuals and like race cars and do things like that and drive stick shifts all the time. And when you do it, you're actively driving. That's the thing. No one's actually out there actively driving. And also no one's afraid of accidents anymore because cars are so safe and everything. So everyone's just on their phones, lazily driving down the freeway, clogging it up for go-getters like you and me.
Hey, saw some lady fixing her hair.
On
the highway.
Oh, I saw a guy reading a newspaper.
This is what I did. Bah, bah, bah. She stopped fixing her hair.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, you know what? Maybe when you're going 60 in the fast lane in Los Angeles, maybe that's not the time to fix your hair.
Have you ever been in a car accident?
Me? Oh, that's actually a really good question. No, I have not, sir.
Not ever? Like, not even a fender bender, nothing?
I literally, the closest thing to that, I bumped the person in front of me.
Yeah.
My first one, like literally bumped.
Yeah.
But no damage or anything.
I've been in a couple. One pretty crazy one, but it was on a racetrack. In life, I have been like, one time I was sitting at a stoplight and the lady was driving an SUV in front of me, like a big Range Rover, and I was in a little two-door Acura. And the lady, I was sitting at a stoplight, just sitting there, and the lady, all of a sudden her reverse lights came on, and she just backed her car right over the hood of my car and was like sitting on the hood of my car.
Why?
And she got out of her car, and I was like, what was that? And she goes, I thought I was too far into the crosswalk, so I backed up. This is pre-backup cameras. But anyway, I
can't take people.
The reason
man.
I asked if you've been in a car accident is because I have this other theory that I will espouse to you, which is people. I think people who haven't been in a car accident and who are like newer drivers and things, because cars now are like driving themselves and keeping you in the lanes and stopping for you, and they're so safe, and there's a million airbags and all these things, especially if you're driving a modern car. They don't realize that like your car has weight and physics and inertia and like all these things and mass, and like your car is a 2,000 pound machine that you're operating. They like they don't realize that because they're just this is how I get to work. It's like, no, put the phone down. This is a machine. Operate it as such, and we'll all get to where we're going. Like, I honestly believe traffic in LA would be alleviated a little bit if everyone was driving a stick shift, because you'd actually have to drive. I agree with you.
I think there's also a deeper. I know we've been we're being serious and joking around at the same time, but I think what we're saying, there's some truth to it. I think people have it too easy sometimes.
Well, I think I think this extends to all areas of life.
There's too much of a safety net sometimes, and I don't think that's good.
Sure,
I really don't.
Right. Michael, dude, you're preaching to the choir.
Michael, do you agree with us? I just want to shoot this out.
Michael's the audience right now.
Yeah, like Michael's our awesome co-producer on the show, sound engineer, and an overall great guy.
Do you see what we're saying though, Michael? You can talk to the mic.
Okay.
Yeah,
I can see what you're saying.
Yeah. Okay. All right. We're on track. That's
Michael.
All right.
Do you think some of your best lessons have been learned whenever you failed at something?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Michael's a man of few words. He's very direct, and that's what I love about him.
I love him.
There's no bullshit around him. It's just like, yeah, we could do that.
Yep.
Okay, this is a cool story about Michael.
again, I'll judge if it's cool or not. Just with
my
these
God.
qualifiers all
Oh
the
my
time.
God, I can't.
I mean,
I can't.
just
Literally,
tell
if
the
you're
story.
listening to Brett right now, I'm sorry. This is our worst episode.
What?
This is our worst episode to date, and we'll be the worst one.
Oh, no.
This is low.
Oh,
And wait,
boy.
we're just going up after this. Can't wait to have Katie on the show.
All right, tell a cool story about Michael.
Katie's giving me the thumbs up or the fist. I can't tell. through
Tell
the
us a
window.
cool story
Thumbs
about
up.
Michael, and then tell a cool story about Michael, and then I'll get back to more driving
Dude, I'm telling him like
talk.
all this stuff about what we need for the show, and he's just like, cool, yeah, got it.
Right.
And I've never met somebody else who's been like that, because I'm like that with certain things, and I'm like,
Isn't it
sure
nice?
you got it? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, all right. And then he does it.
Yeah. Isn't it nice to work with people? It is.
Oh,
It's so nice to meet and work with people who actually just get it done on time, and do it right,
who
and who want to learn how
not
to do
only
it
that,
right.
but like they work hard. There's no
Yeah.
complaints. If there's a problem, it's not a crazy thing. They communicate well. Seriously.
Communication
no joke,
is the
setting
number
up
one.
this podcast with you guys.
Yeah.
And the team I found, I've been like, this has gone way too smoothly.
Oh, nice.
Which one of you guys
Good.
are a meth dealer? Like, that's what's going on. I'm like, somebody's a meth dealer here. That's what there has to be a balance.
other
to
shoe's
this
gonna
scale.
drop at
Yeah,
some point,
right?
yeah.
But no, man, it's just been awesome working with people, and I think that's one of the keys to success. And I've always heard about it in the past, but seriously, surround yourself with people who are like that, hardworking,
Yeah.
communicate well, have clear goals,
Yeah.
are not lazy, just good people.
Well, work ethic, communication, all those kinds of things are just
I love
super important.
I love dropping people out of my life. There was a period who I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
we're done.
yeah.
We're
Yeah.
not. I don't. Hey, what do we got to talk about?
It's
Nothing.
important to know. It's important to know when to do that and how to do it.
right? Correct.
And
Not like
to
the way
have
I'm
the
talking about. Just
confidence.
like, bye.
No, but I mean, and to have the confidence to be able to do it, and know that like it's okay, like because there's that thing of like negative. You can, first of all, you should drop negative people, and it's okay to drop negative influences and people in your life. And the thing is like if they get their act together and whatever, like they'll come back.
Yeah.
But if they don't, like that's okay. And you and that's what I meant by being selfish earlier when we were talking about it. It's like, sometimes you have to be a little selfish and go like, I need to look out for myself here. Like this person's not a good influence on me. This person's not part of the team or pulling
Yeah.
their own weight or whatever.
Right.
And it's not personal. It's
No.
just, hey, I got to look out for me sometimes.
Right.
And that's okay.
And let me clarify. I'm not wishing them ill will.
No,
either.
of course
It's
not.
like they're on their own journey too.
Yeah, totally.
And that's fine. But I can't. Like right now, I always love using this analogy of life. You're basically like an ultra marathon runner.
Yeah.
And sometimes you're running through green pastures and everything's going great. Sometimes a branch falls on you. Sometimes you're stuck in mud. Sometimes it's a blizzard, and that's the way life is, right?
Yeah.
Or a desert or whatever. And sometimes you meet people who are running with you along the way, and then you realize, ooh, they're taking a path that's not beneficial to where I want to go, or it's total opposite. And it's like, okay, man, good luck. More than welcome to join, but you're on your own thing.
Right. Yeah, totally.
And that's okay.
I think the further I get into life as well, and the older I get, I realize that, like, to some extent, people just kind of, they are the way that they are. And it's hard to, like, change that. Like, if they're doing something or a behavior that you feel like is counter to whatever you're trying to achieve or whatever, it's, like, so hard to have them actually change. And so it's better to just go, you know what, like, this isn't gonna work, and that's okay. That's all right. You go do your
Absolutely,
thing, I'll
man.
go do mine, and it is what it is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I realize my circle of people has gotten so small, and that's
Oh,
fine
yeah.
with me.
Yeah.
Because I have my day filled up with so many things that I want to do that it's like whenever I want friend time, it's like, oh, I know who to go to, who will get where I'm at in my life and in my journey, and that's okay with me. I couldn't imagine having like 20 friends.
Well, I think
I mean, that sounds weird, but like 20 close friends.
Well, I think that's the thing. That's what I was just gonna say. That I think the thing is like, I know a lot of people,
right?
And you cannot live in Los Angeles or New York or anywhere where you're trying to do kind of what we do, which is like
Yeah.
acting and entertainment and whatever. you really can't do it and not know a lot of people. You just meet people constantly, whether it's at an audition or a casting director or an agent or manager or whatever. Lawyers, you're just constantly meeting people, other actors, producers, things.
Yeah.
You're constantly meeting people. So I know a lot of people, but friends, like friends, I keep my circle pretty small too. And I think it's because,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just, one, it's less work, which is nice.
Right.
And two, it's just, you know that those people, you know, they got your back and they're there for the right reasons and yada, 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 yada,
Yeah.
yada. Like, I don't need a lot of friends, but I need the right friends.
Yes, and I think like with any type of relationship, you have to put in the time for it. You know what I
Sure.
mean? And if your time is limited, it's hard to fit in a bunch of people into your schedule.
Yeah. It's impossible.
Dude, this has happened to me multiple times. Somebody will say, "Hey, let's grab coffee. When I'm like, yeah, let's do it." And then I'm like, "Oh shit! Like, we don't have anything to talk about anymore."
Huh.
Like I'm like, they're telling me about their stuff, and I'm like, "Well, you should just do that." Like in the back of my mind, I'm like, "Well, just do that. Why are you complaining about it?" You know what I mean? I'm not saying that because they're not asking for my advice, but I'm just like, "Oh, yeah, that sucks." How's everything with you? Everything's good. Yeah, everything's great. Just chugging along. Cool. That's it. Good talking.
It's just hard to. I find that it goes in waves for me. Like I feel like sometimes I go through moments where I'm like, man, I need to see people more often, and I don't see people enough. And I have 2 kids now, so it's like I just family and everything. Like it's just there's no time, and I beat myself up over it a lot. Sometimes if I'm on one of those waves of beating myself up over not being able to see people. But then I go in other times where I'm just like, you know what? Like everybody's busy. Everybody's got their thing to do. Like people who are my true friends, they know that they're my true friends. And that's why they're my true friends, because they're secure in that. And even though we don't get to see each other as often as we want to, we know that we'll just pick right back up where we were the last time we saw each other. And I think we're all okay with that, and that's a good place to be.
I have a friend like that. He lives in Colorado. His name is Joey O'Brien. And
what's up, Joey?
Joey.
Yo, what's up, Joey O'Brien?
And we've started writing letters to each other.
What?
Yeah.
You guys are like in a Victorian romance novel.
And months go by in between the letters.
Are
And you know what
they proper?
Yeah. And so this is the not proper. What do you
Wait,
mean proper?
like you mean like on paper?
Yeah, writing letters, like writing by hand.
Do you put a little spritz of cologne in the envelope? And
Yeah,
then...
why?
I'm just asking.
I put dried up jasmine flowers in there
That's
as well.
so
Is that weird?
nice.
Anyway,
Dear Joey O'Brien.
dude, you know what we realized? We have to take pictures of what we wrote last time and what we were talking about, because months go by, and we're like, and he mentioned it in the last one. He's like, "Hey, how the hell did people remember what they were talking about back then?"
Yeah, you can't just like scroll up.
Like you're like, what are we talking about now? What is this asshole talking about?
That's
You know
really
what I mean?
funny.
Can you imagine having an argument letter-wise?
Wait, do you put a stamp on it? And put it in the
yes,
mail?
and we mail it. Yeah.
What year is it? What is happening? Really?
You know how much more?
I thought I was an old man.
It's much better.
Wow.
It's much, because you have to think about what you want to say.
This is why I'm impressed with it. Like, that's a commitment.
Huge commitment.
That is a big. You're in a full blown committed pen pal relationship.
Right. And I have to save the letters so I can, again, I know I've taken pictures, but sometimes it's like, okay, what did he say in this one? And then like, okay.
Oh my God, you're gonna have a shoebox full of letters from Joey O'Brien.
Oh, that's gonna be so weird.
What
I
do
mean,
you-
I'll have to delete, like, not delete. Here's where my mind's at. Delete. Get rid of. Eventually, like, if it starts stacking up, like, this is weird. Okay,
Now hold on. I know this is your show, but now I'm gonna start interviewing you for a second.
Do it, dude. Good luck.
What? What? How did this start? Whose
Him.
idea was this?
His, because he felt like he deleted his Facebook, and he felt like he was just getting too consumed with false information and not having meaningful connections with people.
Right.
And meaningful connections with the people he wanted to have meaningful connections with, like special people in his life.
So where did the idea for letters come from?
He wanted to do it because you have to take the time and then you have to mail it out.
Yeah.
And so it's a commitment.
Yeah.
You can't just, you could just ignore a letter, but it's like, no, I really want to talk to this person. And dude, our conversations got so deep so quickly on there because it's like stuff we really care about.
The conversations in the letters.
In the letter, there's no fat in the letters. Everything's written with with reason and with a meaning behind it.
Wow.
And
I
don't
like
type
this.
it out, because then you can just like, delete. No, when you write, it's like, no, this is important.
You've never written like a rough draft and then
Nope.
you just fire it out
Just sit down and I scribble. Maybe I'll scribble out like a word or something. Like I don't know how to spell this.
there? Right, sure.
But yeah.
Wow. I love that. I remember, I mean, I'm so old that when I was in high school and in junior high, and even I didn't go to real college, but I went to tap dancing school in in New York, that people would write notes, like letters, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, you get a letter from a girl and it's like folded in the shape of a heart. How do they do that? Every girl I ever grew up with, every girl I grew up with could write a 18-page letter and then fold it up into the shape of a swan and then give it to me before first period. It's so impressive. Who teaches them that?
It's DNA.
I have a daughter. Is someone going to teach her that, or it just is in there?
It's in there.
They're
man.
born with it?
It has to be. They're born with it.
Wow.
This is, dude. You brought back some nostalgic memories.
I know.
of
Let's
high
go
school.
down this road. I like nostalgia.
Oh my gosh! Can you
Dude.
imagine like crossing paths with the person you wanted to give the note to?
You know what, man? Okay. This is all happening in real time. This is flooding back right now.
Why are you crying?
I'm actually like almost going to get emotional because I'm actually sitting here thinking that like, because I went to high school without cell phones.
Right.
Are we off the cameras?
No,
Or
I'm just trying to
leaving?
make sure I'm in there.
I went to high school without cell phones.
Right.
I got my first cell phone, which was like one of those little Nokia ones with the green screen and the black writing on it.
Yes.
You could play Snake, and that was about it. I got one of those. I think I was 19. Nobody had a cell phone when I went to high school. So if you were going out with a girl, you'd get to class like I was describing, and then, maybe she'd hand you a note, or maybe you'd hand her a note. And there was such excitement around that when she'd hand you the note or when you'd hand her the note, because it was like, when is she going to read it?
Right.
Is she going to wait till after her first period, or is she going to read it now? Is she going to wait till homeroom? Is she going to maybe wait till she takes it home tonight? Or then if she hands it to you, it's like, should I open this now? I don't know what it says. Oh, I hope it says good things. And there's so much like anticipation around that. I miss that part of life because now with the texting, it's like you just open it up right away, read it. It's never long, like usually, And if it's a long text, like, whoa, you probably did something wrong. You never get a long text that's positive.
No.
Long texts are always, wait, did we just stumble on something? Long texts are always negative. Long texts are always like, and you know what else you did last night?
Right.
It's like, oh, God.
But the opposite is true for handwritten letters. You don't want a short letter.
Right.
You write a long letter to
Dear
a girl.
John,
She's like,
I've
"Hey, I'm
left
not-"
you for someone else.
Or yeah, like, hey, I only like you as a friend, or "No,
Right.
I don't want to go to prom with
Right.
you.
You want the long letter.
You want the long letter.
Interesting. I miss that anticipation, that anticipatory part of life. Is that even a word?
You miss high school girls. No, I'm kidding.
Every day. That's why I roll past the school out by my house real slow.
That's not creepy at all.
Get a good look. Actually, I just roll past real slow because I'm like, will one of them recognize me from TV? That'd be fun. No,
Ah,
I'm
so sad.
just kidding. It's
So
a
dark.
joke, everybody. It's so sad and dark. It's a joke. No, I roll
love
past real slow because the flag team's out on the field practicing. Hello. No, it's a joke, everybody. Calm down.
We're live.
Kidding.
Katie's looking through the window like, hey, don't say that.
Stop saying that.
Hey, who are you?
No, but I miss, dude. Hold on. Let's go with this. I miss
Okay.
that anticipation. But I'll take it even a step further.
Okay.
I miss that anticipation part of life. I miss the foreplay of life. I miss dude. I'm so old.
Whoa.
I miss going to Blockbuster
Yeah.
and picking out a movie, and then not really knowing much about it except for what you can read on the back of the box, and then going home and putting it in, and maybe that VHS tape sucks, but it's the only movie you got, and you're stuck with it. I love Netflix. I love Hulu. I love all these things. I watch them just like everybody else, and I love it. I love the convenience of it. I love that it's not very expensive. I love all the content they give me for my monthly fee. I love all those things. But I got to tell you, I mean, how many people out there, you just scroll and you 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 never really pick on anything. And then even when you do pick something, it's like 5 minutes in, you're like, this sucks. I'm going to go to something else. you never could do that. You would have to. You just, I don't know. Like,
It's the
maybe you'd end up
foreplay
with
of
a
life,
bad
man.
movie, but so what?
You hit it on the head perfectly. The foreplay of life, man.
Nobody wants
There's
the
no
foreplay
buildup.
anymore. Everyone wants to skip all the foreplay and get right down to the intercourse.
Maybe I just want foreplay.
Foreplay is fun.
Why am I looking right at Michael while I'm saying that? He's so uncomfortable right now. Michael, I just want foreplay, bro.
Everyone needs to slow down. The intercourse will come.
You know what I miss? I used to be in theater, obviously, in high school, 8th grade, and in college a lot. But specifically in high school,
Did you
I
ever
used to
play
love-
Jack in Into the Woods?
no, I played the steward, number 2, because they had to split the role up.
In Into the Woods?
Into the steward.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, I was trying to go
Like
for...
an A cast and a B cast?
No, like, there was just, they were like, we got to give him something.
Really?
Yeah, they split up the steward role. I couldn't sing. It was fine with me.
Oh,
Totally, nah.
You nailed that Giants in the Sky earlier.
Thanks, man. Practiced for
All right.
15 years.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, stop. Don't ever do that again. It's my show. Our numbers are so much higher. so disrespectful. No, man. I used to love, and this is such a silly thing, but waiting till after school came, save up like $3.
Yeah.
And I know in the vending machines, like I know which stuff I was gonna get.
Sure.
And waiting till done, going in there,
Yeah.
picking it out, and just enjoying it, as my snack during rehearsal.
Right.
Those were good times, man.
They don't even have vending machines in schools anymore.
They don't?
No.
I don't know. I haven't been in a school in forever.
Dude, listen, we had soda machines at our school. They
Same.
don't have that anymore.
Same.
It's all they have a soda machine. It's all water. I'm not even making this up. This is 100% true. What are you?
Oh, sorry. Somebody, I couldn't tell who was coming into the building, and
Oh.
it kind of concerned me.
Oh,
It's like,
it's Tom. He owns the joint.
what's up, Tom?
He's allowed to come in. No soda machines anymore.
Dude,
No
how
vending
much-
machines.
how
No
much
junk food.
sugar did we consume in high
Oh,
school?
tons. But you know what the difference is? Then we'd go to sports practice probably or something or some sort of activity and burn it all off, so it was fine. Now you just go home and start tweeting.
Well, there was a guy in my high school. He
God, we
decided
sound
to
like
bring...
old men. Oh my!
Oh, so what?
God.
If you're I don't care.
Yeah, I don't care either. That's part of being an old
Because
man.
I'm rich. Because we're rich. I'm prime time.
no.
Why
It's
would I
finally
care?
happened. It's finally happened.
I'm on prime time network
He's
television.
Oh no!
Why would
Michael.
I'm rich.
No, I'm telling Michael. Michael, that's the end of the show. Turn it off. No,
Dude,
I love.
There was
I want someone out there to think they were being 100% serious about that guy.
and I want them to tweet at me.
I
And you know
want-
what I want?
I
I want
know.
to invite them to my
I
block
want someone
party.
just being like, you guys are dicks. Like, you're talking about you're rich. It's tongue in cheek, people.
Hey, guess what? I'm not rich.
No.
It's a joke.
I was on MTV. All right? MTV. I mean, look, I love them.
I'm making that.
I love
I was on
them.
it too.
I love what they gave me. I love all those things. But they don't pay, people.
Hey,
They pay very decently. But
so my amazing, great, cool story that I was going to
the
tell.
most radical story of all
Most
time.
radical.
Here, sit back. I've got the most awesomest story of all time.
Actually, it's kind of sad. Some kid decided to bring a full 2-liter. What is it? 2-liter Dr. Pepper. Yeah, one of those big ones.
Yeah, 2
to
liters,
his
yeah.
after school practice for I think it was baseball or football.
Uh-huh.
One of those after school activities. He got sent to the hospital.
What?
Dehydrated. He was drinking just the Dr. Pepper.
Oh, yeah.
Dehydrated.
Yeah. Yeah, you do want to try to drink
Dude.
some water.
Hey man, wrong choice of beverage.
Dude, when I was in high school, this whole water, I don't know the age really of anyone who's listening right now, but this whole water thing where everyone's just hydrated, water, force water. You got to drink water. Hey, you drinking enough water today? Hey, you got any water? This whole bottle water everywhere, bottle water craze, water everywhere. That was not a thing when I was in high school.
No.
No way. If you drank water, people were like, why are you drinking water, you wuss? It was all just Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Dr. Pepper, Mountain Dew,
Literally
Sprite.
The worst.
Orange
some of the
soda.
worst things in excess. I should say that.
Oh, yeah.
Here's the thing. If every once in a while, I'm not a Dr. Pepper.
Sure.
I don't think that's a bad thing.
No, of course not.
What's that?
The sidebar, it's really funny that you say that about drinking water. I have a running app on my phone, and it tells me this.
He's holding up his phone and says, drink some water.
Why do you have that?
You have an app that tells you to drink water?
It's a running app.
Michael. Oh my god.
Oh, a running, like a...
Yeah.
I
It's
thought you meant just an app.
No.
That is running.
It's a running. Yeah.
No, dude. We used to go to you'd be at football practice, soccer practice, whatever, and everyone's drinking Gatorade.
Yeah.
And if you saw the guy drinking water, you're like, "Why are you drinking water? That's got no flavor. Get some Gatorade in you." And I mean, Gatorade's fine, but it's full of sugar and full of all kinds of things. Like nobody drank water. There was one water button on the soda machine for like Aquafina to come out or something, and it was always full of Aquafina probably because no one went for the water. And now everything is just water.
Right.
Bottled water. Has anyone ever thought about this? Water comes out of the tap, people. You can drink it.
No, not in LA.
Yes,
and I'm
you
not
can.
a fan of plastic water.
You can drink the tap water, Wesam. You don't drink tap water?
No.
What?
Absolutely not in LA. No.
You don't?
No. You can, if you're hearing this sound throughout the podcast.
That's why I put the mouse pad underneath my cup. Listen, wait, you don't drink water?
In general?
No, tap water. You don't drink
No.
tap water?
Are you crazy? No.
Why?
No, man. Too much fluoride.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Where's your
Too much
tinfoil
chemicals.
hat?
Dude, it's in my...
Is it
it's
under
my
your
truck.
beanie?
Dude, let me tell you something. I would rather drink out of a spring in the mountains.
Of course. Wesam, yes, of course. Everyone would rather drink out of a mountain. Look, yes, Wesam.
It's not great for you.
If I had a choice,
here we go.
If I had a
Come on.
choice, I would have a helicopter take me to the top of a mountain, and I would have Bambi himself would come down and eat from my palm, and I would drink out of a mountain babbling brook.
Yeah.
But I live in Los Angeles, and sometimes I'm thirsty, and I'd throw that tap open and stick my face under it and drink it. You take a shower, don't you?
Yeah. It's
You're
different.
under the same water.
I have a filter on my shower head.
Oh my god, he's one of those.
To remove some of the chlorine.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, please.
What do you mean, please, man?
Chlorine
that
gives
stuff
you
is not
character.
good for you. So,
Chlorine
what is he
gives you
showing?
tap
Michael,
water.
you better be on my side, Michael. I don't know what you're showing.
Michael just pulled up something on Safari on the internet here. It says LA tap water as clean as bottled water. Boom. There you go. Headline. What
Hey,
website
guys,
is that?
if you're listening to the
What-
show, looking
what
for a new
website is that?
sound engineer and producer.
Oh, that's ABC News. That's not
So-
even. That's not, dude. First of all,
No.
that's not even like my mom's website that I run from my basement. That's ABC News reporting that.
Have you ever, just out of curiosity,
Go ahead.
have you ever unscrewed the little, I don't know what it's called, but it's kind of, it's like a little tap or where the water comes out of the sink.
Oh, like
You
the
can-
little screen.
Yeah.
that's on the that's right on the spigot. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly that
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Have you ever unscrewed that and just kind of looked in the pipe?
Yeah, it's not good.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, but dude, nothing. Wait, Sam. You walk outside of this studio right now,
Right?
out the front door of Adobe Studios,
Right.
and take a deep breath. It's horrible for you.
Yes.
So whatever.
I'm trying to mitigate what I put into my body.
Look, of course. I mean, look. I'm health conscious in the way
That's negative.
I am health conscious in the way where, like you were saying earlier, like, do I eat a supersized, French fries and Big Mac every day? No, of course not. But I'll have like 2 a year.
Okay.
So I am aware of it too. But it's
Yes.
it's water, baby. It's just water.
No, it's not just water. That's the thing, man. Okay, I'm curious to know where they took that study. I mean, where did they extract the water from? Is it like, hey, random Joe's apartment building, right? Because
Well,
that
that's
also
okay.
plays an
Yes,
effect.
of course, that's true.
Do you know what I
Yes,
mean?
Yes.
Maybe my apartment building
Right.
doesn't have great pipes.
Right.
And that's
There's different
a
pipes.
thing.
Okay, fine. But what I'm saying is that we live in a world where we have been convinced of this like bottled water. I mean, how many different
Dude, you've been
bottled
convinced
water?
that tap water's okay.
No, what I mean is advertising, big water
Hey.
out there.
Brett, let me
It's
just
kind of ridiculous.
Brett.
It's just as bad as pharmaceutical companies.
Mr.
It's
Davern.
silly.
Mr. Davern, I'm not a fan of plastic of water in the plastic
and-
bottles
and
either.
by the
'Cause
way,
they
they leave-
just did a news thing.
They leave
with-
those cases sitting out the back of the grocery store. It's leaching from the sun.
right.
All these
there's
things.
there's
It's just
chemi-
as bad for
cancer-
you.
So Yes, I'm screwed either way. I use a Brita and the plastic bottle.
I think
I'm
what
sorry.
we've determined here today on this podcast is that Brett and Wesam are going to get a cabin somewhere on a mountaintop
yes.
in Idaho, and
I'm
we're going to
doing
drink from
it.
a babbling brook every morning and write letters to our boyfriends and live out the rest of our days.
Tom, are you in?
That's it. We're
Tom,
all
are
going.
you in
Let's go.
our
Michael,
cabin?
let's go. Forget it.
Tom's in.
You know,
we got a
Wesam-
cult.
Listen,
We got a cult.
we start the show. I think I got my life together.
He's drinking what is he? Is he drinking?
He's drinking Coke Zero right now. Wait,
Damn it, Tom.
Tom just completely shitting on the point. Wait, listen,
He's like,
Wesam.
yeah, I'm in. Let's do it.
We started this show. I think I got my life figured out. I got 2 kids, got a house and a mortgage, and it's all figured out. I'm running 5 different radio shows now, doing all these things. I got it all figured out, and it's devolved to a place where I'm just ready to leave it all and park my butt somewhere in southern Idaho and detach from everything. And
Mrs. Davern, say goodbye.
yeah, like what happened?
Say goodbye to Brett.
How did this happen? You've convinced me.
Man, that's the thing though, like, why do you think I like going running pre-dawn on the mountain? in
Because you
nature?
like sending the Instagram post from the top of the mountain to make us all feel like assholes.
It's to get away, bro.
You guys follow Wesam on Instagram? You follow I'm asking the people out there too. Do you guys follow Wesam on Instagram? He posts some sort of pre-dawn, foggy, dewy, misty. What is that? What is it in the early morning? You know what I'm trying to say, like the mist of the early morning.
Yeah.
He posts these like crazy photos from the tops of mountains.
Yeah.
At like 3:30 in the morning, just to make us all feel like pieces of shit.
That's
And then below it, he puts some inspirational quote like, "You could do this too." It's like,
Oh yeah!
fuck off. And then I just
give
go back
my
to bed.
inspirational quotes a little bit more. It's always good morning, warriors. You are stronger
Yeah.
than the struggles you face.
I know. And you know what I do? I read that and I go, "He's right."
Or grab
And now
Monday
I'm-
by the throat.
Now I'm going back to bed. No, I actually, I really, the fact that you are committed to that and do that is amazing.
Listen,
I make fun of you
I know.
because I
have
will
to
never
get away.
do it myself.
I literally have to get away into some solitude of life, or else I'd go crazy.
yeah.
I can't really. LA is not the city I can live in without that.
Right. Oh, totally. Yeah. No, it's good. But that's why your running up a mountain is my going into the garage and sanding a piece
Perfect.
of wood.
But it's by
an
yourself.
hour on
You do
end.
that by yourself, right?
Yeah, I do it all by myself.
Dude, there's something to say about doing stuff alone and hardships alone.
Yeah.
All right, now we're getting deep again.
Let's do it.
This is crazy.
You want to go deep?
We're on a roller coaster ride of emotions on here.
Listen, we've had the foreplay. Let's get deep.
Now I want more foreplay.
All right.
Michael,
Let's have deeper foreplay.
Michael, I want foreplay. Michael, how do you Perano? How do you say your last name?
Technically, it's Padreño.
Padreno?
Padreño, because it's the
Padreño.
double R and the
Yes.
Enye. But
Oh,
it's
Padreño.
I mostly just do Pereno is fine.
No, sir. Padreño.
I like that.
Mr.
It's like
Padreño.
Scarface.
Dude,
Padreño.
they're making a new Scarface. You heard about this?
Wait, we were going to get deep. Now we're talking about Scarface.
No,
No, I want to get deep.
All right.
I want to get deep. I want to get deeper into the foreplay.
No.
Come on.
No,
I feel
was
like we're
just
stuck
saying-
on second
Right,
base.
right,
Let's
right.
get to third.
Okay. So, I just find, there's something very beneficial, and you just find out a lot about yourself. You can't lie to yourself when you're by yourself.
You know what I'm constantly telling people to do? I don't think
Listen
I've
to the
told you.
podcast?
Well, yeah. Besides that, I don't think I've told you this because I don't need to tell you this, but I'm constantly telling people in my life to. Okay, now brace yourself. This sounds very counterintuitive to my current career.
We're almost out of time, Michael. Okay.
No, but I'm constantly telling people to turn off the radio in their car
Why?
because driving around in the silence of your car and having nothing but your thoughts is amazing.
I think that's
And
beneficial at
can
times.
be amazing.
I think
Especially
it's
if you just got a
beneficial.
quick, like, 10, 15-minute drive. Just click the radio. Like, if you're going to be sitting in traffic for an hour and you want to cut on a podcast, hopefully one of the Nice Guy Digital podcasts on Adobe Radio, blah, blah, blah.
Sam's World, #1 podcast right now.
Sam's World, The Brett Davern Show, Pruner TV, Hostage Radio, or For Real Though. Those are the 5 shows.
Yeah.
Anyway, if you're going for an hour and you want to cut something on, or music, or NPR, whatever, I totally get it. But I got to tell you, the quick 15-minute drive or something, just head to the gym, whatever, like a quick little run.
Yeah.
And you just cut the radio off. It's great. It's great. You do so much thinking. I feel like this is another old man rant, but anecdotally, I feel like this is true. I don't even know if this is true, but like, you know, everyone's just so inundated with content all the time. And we're talking about Netflix and all these things. It's like Netflix comes out with something so fast, it's hard to even keep up with. And there's just all this noise all the time. Around my house, we got those Alexas, you know, that like you talk to them and they play music and whatever. And ever since we got those around the house, there's just constantly sound, constantly now. And it's driving me bananas. And I'm constantly having a conversation with Mrs. D where I'm like, hey, we got to cut this off. Like, let's just have it be quiet around here a little bit. You know, like it's okay to not always have a playlist going or always have something on in the background, you know? Like all these people you hear that they fall asleep with the TV on and they have to in order to go to sleep. It's like, stop. It crowds your brain.
No, I totally agree with you.
You know?
I don't want to say like podcasts saved my life because that would be way too dramatic, but they have shown me doors and perspectives I would have never known before in my life.
Yeah.
And yes, I agree with you. Sometimes it's good just to be in your own life.
Yeah.
And in your own mind because you can't lie to yourself in your own mind. You know the truth deep down inside, especially when you meditate and you think about stuff and things are quiet. You can't run away from your thoughts.
Yeah.
A lot of people who go on these silent retreats for like 1 week, 2 weeks where they're not allowed to talk, play music, do anything like that.
Oh, that sounds so good.
They're not allowed to do any of that stuff. They end up crying and having these emotional breakdowns. And they realize they have to face the faults in their life, the things they've done wrong, the things that are troubling them.
Yeah.
And by the end of it, they always feel like, yes, okay, I'm ready to face this now.
I had an
I was just going to say, but at the same time, sometimes it's good to chime in with podcasts with awesome people in there.
Yeah.
That way you're like, ooh, I like that thought. Let me think about that. And it's always good to contemplate things in silence.
Well, being introduced to new ideas and things all the time is very important, for sure. A quick story. Katie and I, with our show, we got to go to the Mammoth Film Festival.
Yes.
And so we went, this was like a couple months ago, and we went up there. We were there for like 3 or 4 days. Maybe just 3 days. I can't remember. Anyway, we were driving around getting like all this footage, and Mammoth is a little mountain town here in California, and they have a ski area and all the things that you would have in any mountain town. It's really high in elevation, and it's sort of isolated out there by itself. There's a lake, and it's really beautiful and pristine. And so we took video cameras and sound equipment and all these things because we were doing interviews and red carpet things for the film festival and all these different things. And so one of the mornings we were just driving around because there were no screenings that morning for us to cover. So we're driving around and getting all these shots, and Katie's standing up and out of the sunroof, and like we're shooting and just getting a bunch of footage that we can then put in the videos later when we return to Los Angeles. So Katie stands up and she's out the sunroof and she films herself doing that, and then she's like, now I'll drive and you do it. And I'm like, okay. And so we stopped the car, but we're on this like road out in the middle of nowhere, like outside of this mountain town, and we hadn't seen another car in like 25 minutes on this like little 2-lane road. It was paved and everything, but I mean it was out there by itself. So I stop the car and get out, and the second I got out of the car and shut the door, it was so silent that it was shocking how silent it was. Because, you know, when you're in the car, even with the radio off, because we were shooting film, you got the air conditioner going, so there's like even a little white noise, that like sound, you know, we're talking to each other, there's sound, but getting out and then shutting the door, it was so quiet. And it's the middle of the day, and you're just surrounded by these mountains, and it's absolutely silent because we're so far off the highway that you couldn't even hear the sound of the trucks or anything. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I reached back in the car and I just turned the engine off too. I was like, and then she's like walking around the car to drive. And I was like, wait, listen. And we stood there and just listened. And it was so quiet that it was loud or something. Like the sound of silence was loud, and it was peaceful and a beautiful moment, but also there was something uncomfortable about it. Like we didn't even stand there very long because I almost felt myself going like, okay, I need to get back at like I found myself uncomfortable, and so I know exactly like what you were trying to describe with these people at these silent retreats. I'm like, yeah, I think I would find a breaking point very quickly in the silence of that because we're so used to having constant sound.
There is a constant striving for people who are not so intertwined with their with the life that's in front of them. Like, you know, there are people in this world and they're on their own journey who are just focused on the material things, on the you know, just things in their life.
Yeah.
And that's that's fine. They're on their own journey, but there are certain other people, and I think I categorize myself in this group, who kind of take a step back and see everything in third-person perspective and be like, oh, well, what is this? I mean, is this thing really important? What does this serve me? Is this a beneficial tool? Is this person really beneficial in my life? Why is this person doing this? And then that reflection and that microscopic evaluation on yourself, or excuse me, on other people and other things, it starts to go towards yourself and starts to go inward. So lately, this is a very personal thing that I'd like to share. I've been, and I haven't found an answer, I've been asking myself, who am I? Who am I? Is a huge weighted question because I'm like, okay, I know my name is Wesam, Quiche, but that's a name given by my parents.
Sure.
This physical body that I inhabit is
gorgeous.
Incredibly gorgeous. Stunning hair. But it's all stuff that's been genetically taken from my parents.
Sure.
And then my life circumstances have kind of built brick by brick a kind of self-definition of me, a self-eval, you know, like, okay, because of these things that have happened in my life, I kind of have this idea of myself.
Yeah.
And then certain people who have come across in my lifetime have varying, you know, definitions of who Wesam is. But for the most part, it's along the same lines.
Yeah.
And for myself, it's a very interesting dynamic because I'm looking at it. But at the same time, it's like, well, take my name away. Take all those experiences away. Take away my physical body. Who am I then? I don't know. And it's something I've been hitting this brick wall in my mind.
Yeah.
What defines a person? And that's why I feel more than ever, whenever I'm really focused on that, I find a pull to the mountain more. Mm-hmm. I find myself wanting to be alone more because there's this like something's pulling me towards this because I haven't found an answer yet. The more I'm dealing with stuff in the material world and the material life that I have to live in, that I am living in, that question starts getting foggy and I don't care about it. But as soon as I start taking that third person perspective again, I'm getting pulled towards it more. Anyway, that's just something I wanted to share. I don't know where I was going with it, but
I think that for me, I used to feel a lot of what you're describing. But at the same time, I think what I've found lately is that I'm not going to know the answer. I don't know if there even is an answer as far as who are you, why are we here, all these kinds of giant questions.
How do you know you won't know the answer?
Well, this is what I'm saying. Like, I think I've just sort of come to this realization of like, here's what I should say. I don't know if I'm ever going to find the answer, and I'm okay with that now.
Okay.
I'm okay with it. I've come to peace with it. I just go like, that's all right. I'm going to just enjoy, this sounds so cliche, but I'm just going to enjoy the search and just enjoy the journey and not really worry about whether I could find the answer or not. I'm just going to live, do the best I can, try to be a nice person, try to, be considerate, try to do all the things that we were talking about, try to let people in on the freeway, and just sort of like try to do that. I mean, you're always going to have moments where you know, but try to do that as much as I can. And if the answers to all these big questions come along at some point, great. And if they don't, that's fine too. And I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
I just, as long as I'm just taking some time every once in a while, to, like bang on some wood in the garage, I'll be fine.
That's great too. And I don't know where this search will lead me. I honestly don't know.
Yeah.
And it's just something that's really been pulling at me within the last 6 to 8 months. It's really just been kind of nagging at me because I saw this video by C.T. Fletcher, who's an amazing life coach. He's a weightlifter, but he survived like open heart surgery a bunch of times, and he's just like a hoss of a human being.
Yeah.
Big life motivator, big positive guy, realistic guy. And in this video, he talks about will is key to the success, willpower, and whenever you give 100% into whatever you do, there is victory in that, regardless if you fail or succeed. Giving 100%. And at the end of the video, specifically, he says, remember who you are. Remember who you are. Remember who the fuck you are. And that's the way the video ends. And I'm like, yes. And then I was like, well,
And you're like,
who am I?
But who am I? Yeah.
And I was like, oh, shit. Who?
Yeah. I think that I think for me, is just my opinion, obviously. I think that who you are can change a million times, and it'll never really be the same, even like on a daily basis. And so I'm saying, for me, I kind of stopped searching for who I am because I sort of just went like, I have a really good idea, or what I think is a good idea of who I want to be, which is like nice, like we were saying, like nice person, considerate, blah, 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 like responsible, good work ethic, like these kinds of things. I think I have a good handle on all that. And so I'm just kind of starting to, in life, go like, I'm going to let go of constantly trying to figure out who I am, because I kind of know who I want to be, and I'm trying to do that. And so now I'm just going to let it go. Does that make sense?
Yeah, man.
Maybe I'm not really
No, I get you.
verbalizing exactly what's in my head, but
No, I get you, man. I agree with you. It just change on a daily basis. I'm just trying to find the core, you know? Because I believe I am a soul. Not that I have a soul, but I am a soul, and that the brain is just a tool.
But I think I have a pretty good idea of who you are.
Well, that's you from your perspective.
Right.
I'm talking about me.
No, I know.
On a more core level, though.
Right.
And this is getting into a more spiritual aspect of it, yes, but that's something that I'm searching for. I don't know. Again, I don't know if I'll find the answer. Probably not, but not in this lifetime. Maybe not. Maybe I will. Who knows? But it's just I'm on my journey. I don't know where it'll lead me.
Yeah.
I just think it's important to ask these questions too, because I feel like.
Well, I think what we're talking about is like
different-
mindfulness. It's like mindfulness, just
Thank you
being
so much.
aware, being mindful, taking some time to think, and like that's the thing, man. It's like I find I run into people in life all the time, and they're just so consumed with, like we were saying, like the material things, the social media, the next selfie, the next whatever, and like I find that they don't take the time to just drive around with the radio off and just kind of think some thoughts, or to go like, I love airplanes, and I really, really, really used to love airplanes even before they had Wi-Fi and all that on them, because it's like they're just like these little chambers, like these little steel tubes flying through the air where you can just be completely unattached from the world. It's great.
You know what's ruined flying for me?
What?
Flying business and first class.
Yeah, it's rough.
Dude, I can't. This is gonna sound so pretentious. I don't care. But if you've flown business or first
this
class,
guy?
and then you gotta fly coach again,
Yeah.
you're like, oh god,
Yeah.
this is miserable.
No, see, I like
Be on a 16-hour flight to Dubai.
I
and
like
coach.
going. I like
No,
going
thank
back there and mingling with the common people. I find it keeps me grounded. Also, I forget what real people smell like after a while, and so it's nice to go back there
I
and
want
get a
a
good
warm hand
whiff.
towel. I want a warm hand towel. I want warm nuts. That's what I want. Warm cashew nuts. I want a more selection for my visual entertainment.
Yeah,
I want a lay down bed because I've just
a
been
lay
spoiled.
down bed.
Yeah.
Well, you're talking about going on like a real long flight.
No, JetBlue from LA to New York.
Yeah, well, that's like 6 hours. That's
They give you
kind of a haul.
business. It's
Oh,
a
yeah.
full lay down.
Hey, buddy, I know. I used to get.
Oh, are you an
to the-
actor?
I used to get flown to the VMAs every once in a while.
Are you an actor?
I am.
Oh wow, that's
Or
crazy.
I used to be. Dude, I don't know. I've flown on some really long coach flights. It doesn't bother me. I'm not very tall. Neither are you. It doesn't bother me.
It bothers me. I want comfort.
I don't care.
It bothers me with the other person next to me. That's what bothers me.
You know what boggles my mind though? Man, we're just all over the place.
I
Oh,
love
well,
it.
whatever. You know what kills me though about first class and business and all that is that I still have to sit next to other people up there. So my new thing is I just want to fly private everywhere. No, that's not what I was going to say. That's a joke. What gets
you
me...
just take it like white people. What? You're white.
What? Wait, no, I was going to say... God, what was I going to say? What did I start to say?
Talking
Now
about,
I can't even remember.
No,
It's going to
I'm
hit me when I
spoiled.
listen back to
listen,
this.
when you realize, because Monday, it was the best day I've had with my family.
Yeah,
ever.
yeah.
Like literally the best day. And we got a VIP tour guide
Yeah.
at Disneyland.
Yeah.
And with VIP tour guide, you get to jump into fast pass
Oh,
lanes.
yeah, because you're on ABC. That's Disney, baby.
Yeah. So you get to jump into fast pass lanes
Yeah,
without
you
the
do.
specific time plan. And if there is no fast pass lanes, you just go right on.
And you don't even have to make your brother wear like a fake leg cast or anything.
No.
No, now you're getting the VIP for real.
No, but my mom was in we got a wheelchair for my mom because she has knee and back problems.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
but we weren't using it the whole time. But when she got tired, we would just push her around.
My brother and I back in the day, we used to just put a fake cast on him.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, so dishonest.
we do that at Six Flags. Hey, we were young, man. We wanted to get on the front of the roller coaster.
Well, what I was saying was I can't do Disneyland again without a VIP tour guide.
Oh, my God.
Oh, no. Hey, Brett, I'm not waiting 2 hours in a line to ride a ride that's
Listen,
30
Wesam,
seconds.
Sometimes.
Brett, no.
In life.
Don't argue with me on this. We're going to end the show, Brett.
He's so upset.
Oh, my gosh. You want to wait an hour and a half in a line for a ride that's like 1 minute long?
Well, no, I don't like Disneyland. I'm not a fan. I
was like you, sir.
I find that people who like Disneyland a little bit too much they have issues. I think they have mental issues. I was going to say that they're psychopaths or serial killers, and they might be. But I think those people that like Disneyland, like you see these full-blown adults that are just wearing nothing but like Disney regalia, and it's too much.
Mr. Davern, I didn't care about Disneyland.
Yeah, me neither.
But when I went and the good time that I had with my family, I was like, you know what? I see why people really enjoy this. But
but you were getting to the front of the line every time.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
You didn't feel like a bit of an asshole walking past everybody?
I earned that, brother.
Yeah,
I earned
guess
it.
so.
I
That's
worked
true.
hard.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. But the first, no, you're right. You're absolutely right about that. But the first time they walked you to the front, you didn't kind of have that tinge of just like, ugh. Oh man, you've really gone to the dark side. You're going to the dark side.
I am in a part of my life where I just don't care what other people think anymore.
Can I float this to you though?
Sure.
Can I float this to you though? I think the reason you enjoyed it so much though is because you don't have it all the time and didn't have it all the time.
No.
Yeah.
You're 100% right. And add the fact
Wait,
that...
I'm 100% right? Wait, hold on. I'm 100% right? Just don't look through the window at her.
You're 80% right.
Talk to me.
This is why you're
We
right.
don't know what she's trying to say anyway. We don't
Plus,
speak
I was with
sign
my
language.
mom and dad, and my youngest brother joined us, and we rarely get a full family time like that together.
Wait, hold on. Wait.
Yeah.
Wait, pause.
Okay.
Go back.
Okay.
Do you agree with what I was saying about not getting it all the time, or you're disagreeing?
Oh, I agree with you. Yeah.
Yeah. See, that's the thing. I think if you grew up, like let's say you just grew up and like, I don't know, your dad was on an ABC show or something like that.
Yeah.
And so you grew up going to Disneyland like that all the time. You would enjoy it. Of course you would enjoy it. You would enjoy getting in the front of the line, all those things, but it wouldn't be as special. And I think it's the same thing with first class, business class, all those things. Look, that's why you love it so much. Because if it just becomes regular, then it just becomes part of life.
Right.
It's not
Yes.
special anymore.
No, you've got
You
some
have
truth
to every
that,
once in
yes.
a while fly coach, as long as it's only
No.
to like
Hey,
Vegas
man,
or something.
No, I'm not flying coach anymore.
You're insane.
I'm prime time.
You're insane.
I'm prime.
Oh, I know what I was going to say. I know what I was going to say. Remember a long time ago when I forgot what I was going to say? Here's what I was going to say. What I was going to say is what really blows my mind about coach and business class is if you're paying for it yourself, that price difference is insane.
Yeah, it is.
It's insane. For a reclining seat and some warm nuts and a hot towel, you go from a $300 plane ticket to a $4,000 plane ticket. I mean, the price it's not like you go from 300 to 600. You go from like 300 to like 1,800. It's insane.
It's usually 5 times more in business. And if you want to go on international flight, so like a first class,
you're talking about a flight for $10,000.
Yeah. So if you're looking at business class from
That's crazy.
Dubai to LA, you're looking at over 10 grand.
That's insane for a flight. That's insane.
You can't justify that. I get that.
You cannot justify
So
that.
why,
If you're paying for it yourself, look, MTV wants to pay for it. I'm in all day long.
Yeah,
course.
multi-million-dollar
Of
company
course.
wants to. Yeah, you're gonna.
I could never pay for. I don't think even if you came down right now, if Shonda came down right now with her magic wand and waved it, because I think she's probably some sort of magical genie or something.
Okay.
If she came down and waved her magic wand and was like, Brett, boom, you've got $100 million. I still think me in my upbringing couldn't pay a $10,000 airfare. That's insane.
Nah, I couldn't do it. I'd rather pay $10,000 for something else.
Of course, yeah, me too.
But the thing is, I was in a miserable seat from Dubai to LA, and those 16 hours really felt
of
like...
course.
And not to say that when you're in there, in the seat, you're like, you know what? Should have paid 10 grand.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Of course, but afterwards, you've been like, I'm down 10 grand.
Oh, man, yeah. That's a lot of cash. That's a lot of money. I mean, I've been on some long flights. I've flown from here to Tokyo. I've flown from here to Amsterdam. I've flown from... And I've done those, coach. And it sucks. But you know what? When I think back on those trips, I don't think of the plane
When you're
ride.
in the middle of somebody's fart, you're like, yeah, I'll pay 10 grand to get out of this.
Also, you're like, sir, you might need to see a doctor. You might need to get that checked out.
I'm so rude on flights.
Hey.
When somebody farts, I just go like this. I just put my hand over my face. I'm so rude.
You know that they do fart in first class in business,
No,
right?
they don't. It's against the rules.
Well, I was going to say that it's just that the second they do, the flight attendant comes along and like cleans it up really quickly. I know it's in the air, but like just comes along instantly. They just know there's like an alarm that goes off or something.
So real quick before we wrap it up.
Real quick. We've been talking for like 4 hours.
No, we haven't. It's been an hour.
Hour and 35 minutes.
I'm just kidding.
That's it?
Yeah.
Oh.
It goes by quick.
Let's go for 2 more.
I feel like it's gone by quick.
Yeah, I feel like that too.
Real quick, you said 5 shows. You've got the Brett Davern Show on Monday through Friday.
Brett Davern show's on Monday through Friday. Yep, 7 a.m. on the West Coast, 10 a.m. on the East Coast. It's on Adobe Radio.
Katie's show.
Go to adobe.com. But we also podcast everything, and there's YouTube and all kinds of stuff. Yeah.
Katie's show that she's also on as well.
Katie is on another show with 2 other girls, Jillian Rose Reed, who is also on Awkward. She
Don't know her.
Tamara.
Never worked with her. Don't know her.
You made out with her
The last episode we
on
did.
camera, yeah.
Dude, I make out with a lot of people, bro.
Yeah, bro, I
On
make
prime
out
time.
with so many chicks, dude.
I keep saying
all
prime
the
time.
bro.
I'm going to sound so obnoxious.
Oh, everyone's just like, this guy is so out of touch.
Hey, we're kidding around.
Yeah, it's all tongue in cheek, people. It's a joke. So let's see. So Brett Davern Show is on every single morning, and it's podcast and YouTube and all that. There's another show called For Real Though. That's the name of the show, and it's Katie and Jillian Rose Reed and Bianca Bethune, who Bianca was on Switched at Birth with.
Right.
Katie's an actor as well, who was on a show called Switched at Birth, and they were on that together. And then Jillian has joined that show, and they, talk about what it is to be, experiencing this land of LA from a female perspective, and I think the description of their show talks about from boys to auditions to hair journeys to blah blah, all the things
That's fun.
that they cover.
I like that.
And then
Wait, do they have guests on their show?
they haven't yet. I think they're like 7 or 8 episodes in. They haven't yet, but they've been talking about starting to have people sit in with them.
Like Wesam?
Well,
I'm not a girl, though.
Maybe
They only have girls.
they drink a ton of champagne and tequila and talk about
Uh-oh.
things that your mama might not want to listen to.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, oh yeah, they get into it.
Nice.
Yeah, Katie told some story about this guy putting whipped cream all over his junk and being tied down to a bed.
Oh,
And
boy.
it gets crazy on that show.
Oh, boy.
And then what else we got? We got Hostage Radio is on Saturdays. It's also podcasted YouTube. Also For Real, those podcasted YouTube, all that.
Great.
There's one called Hostage Radio, which is basically almost like a behind the music, like when VH1 used to do that back in the day.
Nice.
They do
Cool.
like a behind the music on Green Day or whatever. And it's sort of a radio version of that. And it's hosted by Katie's brother, actually, his name is Denny. And he just knows everything there is to know about music.
Nice.
And he's great at it. And it's a great show. And then Pruner TV is another show.
I was on that.
It's our friend Aaron Pruner, who is a TV writer. He watches more TV than I've ever could even dream of watching.
He's really aggressive.
Yeah.
Like, he put me in a headlock. Right?
Really?
No, I'm kidding. Can you imagine? He's starting rumors about Aaron?
He's a TV guy, and so he has guests and actors.
I told you I was on it,
directors
right?
and stuff. You were on there?
On his show. I was on it.
Oh, did you tell great stories?
Actually, I did. It was this best episode yet. Like that episode was on iTunes #1 for about like 5 weeks.
Whoa!
Straight. Yeah.
Wow! I didn't even know about that. And then is that it? Did I cover them all? Did I forget one?
I think
Pruner,
so.
Hostage, for real.
When am I coming back on the Brett Davern show?
Whenever you want. Whenever you want.
I'm outside that door every morning at 7.
I think the thing that's fun for me.
Just ignoring me.
Oh no, I heard you. I just plowed right on.
Right, man. Whatever.
It's a lot of fun. You know, like we used to do the old podcast with Marty and my other buddy Ben, and is a lot different of a show. And I think it's been fun for me to find the voice of this new show that I'm doing and figure out what it is. And like we were talking about at the beginning of this conversation, which is like, don't worry about what it is before you're even doing it. Just start doing it and then kind of figure out what it is as you're going along. Because you will figure it out. And it took about, I don't know, I think there was like 20 episodes in, something like that. And I remember, and as I was saying, Katie and I carpool. So on the way back out to our houses, I remember looking at her and going like, I think I figured it out. I figured out what this show is. And what the Brett Davern show is now is just a morning show. A fun way to wake up morning show, full of energy. We're going to have a guest. We're going to play silly games. I'm going to launch into some ridiculous opinion about Reese's Peanut Butter Cups or whatever. And we're just going to have fun. And as soon as I let go of, because I think on the old podcast, it was like I wanted to have these like serious conversations and these like in-depth things. And not that we can't go there or won't go there. It's just that I'm at peace with that the new version of the show is just a fun morning show that's lighthearted and whatever. But that's kind of all comes back to like just letting something be, like just doing it and letting it be and figuring out what it is as you're going along. And that's okay.
Well, I got to say, and I'm not just saying that because you're my friend or, we work together or whatever. It seriously is probably the best morning show I've ever heard.
Oh, thanks, man.
It's that engaging and entertaining.
Thank you.
And it's evolved into something so cool from when I remember the show first going on.
Yeah.
And that's part of the cool thing about it. I mean, if you look at, let's take a great example, Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
If you look at his first episode 1 of his podcast, it looked like shit.
Yeah, sure.
But then you look at it now and you look at the guests he's having, it's like, cool, that's an awesome journey.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, we did 115 episodes of the original podcast. And like I said, like I was explaining earlier, we didn't do it every day. So we would meet up like once a month or twice a month or whatever. So it was sort of irregular when we'd meet up.
Right.
And so like our third episode of the day was always better than the first episode because we were finally in the mode and whatever. But we did 115 of them. I think right now on the morning show, we're up to like episode number 90 something. So we've almost done 100 of those already, but we're doing it every day. And it's just a lot easier to get into a groove and find your rhythm and all those things and find the voice of it. And I think we have, and we're having a great time over there, and we're constantly coming up with new segments and new fun games and all these things. And it's just fun. I love it.
Awesome, brother.
Yeah. I love where I'm at. And, of course, I'm always auditioning and trying to get the next, movie or TV gig or whatever. But in the meantime, I'm loving what I'm doing, and I'm happy to be doing it, and I'm happy that it's found an audience. But even if it hasn't, I'd be doing it anyway.
You're an inspiration.
You're incredibly good looking.
I know, man. Thanks for saying that.
Oh, I thought you were going to come back with another compliment. I thought we were going to have a compliment off.
No, you don't want to do that with me. I'll take what you last said and just like what I just did.
You just take every comment I make.
I'm a bad person.
You have piercing blue eyes.
I wish I did.
No, you're supposed to say, so do you.
Oh, see, I don't know what you're doing, man.
Can't even stick to his own game.
Oh, we're out of time. Damn. Hey, thanks for coming on, Brett. You're at Brett Davern.
Of course, man.
And then people want to check out your show.
No, I'm at BDav. Oh, jeez. He messed up my social.
Oh, shit. You have to change it.
My selfie game will really be taking a thing.
Boy.
Can I tell you, I know we're wrapping it up, but social media is such a necessary evil. I always feel like I'm talking crap about social media.
Yeah.
And like,
you're a drug dealer.
people take selfies and all this stuff. And I'm always like kind of talking down at that stuff. But we need, it's a good way to promote, especially in the business that we're in. So I understand its use.
I think it's a tool.
It's a tool, yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
So if you use the tool properly,
Yeah.
it benefits you. If you don't, it harms you.
People can become too obsessed with it. I forget to post on Instagram. I actually just forget. Like
You should see a doctor.
I don't remember.
Yeah, you should see a doctor. I mean, you were raised in the 70s, born in the 60s, so that's probably like an...
I think, honestly, what I'm saying is it just doesn't cross my mind. Like, someone starts doing... Like, you'll start doing something out in the lobby or whatever, and it doesn't cross my mind to, like, be like, I should film this, or I should
like mindfulness, you mean?
I should be more mindful of posting on Instagram. Is that what you're saying? Oh, great.
Were you that guy who was in the middle of the road yesterday, Brett?
What? Oh, sitting there? Yes, I do drive Uber and Lyft sometimes now, too. Wow, that's how I pay for the first class plane tickets.
Oh.
With all the Uber. He was so uninterested in that. Did you? Wait, let's replay that. Oh. He wants to end the show so badly. I'm not going to let him. I'm just going to keep talking. Oh.
That's...
You need to cut that, Michael. You need to cut that out and play this back every time the guest says something. Here, wait, I'll do it for you, and then later you cut this out, and then you play it every time Wesam is uninterested in whatever his guest is saying. Ready? Ready? Oh. No, I got this new movie, man. It hits theaters on Wednesdays. Oh.
Just look around.
Oh, man.
Seriously, I had such a blast with you.
Buddy, I love you. And, yeah, keep doing what you're doing.
All right.
Yeah, I love it.
We're out. Well, we made it through. It was awesome having Brett on, actually. No, he's a great guy, and I love him. I love his show. I love everything he does. And just all-around good person. We had a blast. We laughed so hard. Be sure to check out the Brett Davern Show every morning on Adobe Radio. Check him out at BDav, and you can see all the rest of his other shows he's got on there. For real, though, Aaron Pruner TV. Just a bunch more, man. I mean, this podcast family is growing. Be sure to check us out at Wesams_world on our social media. We're on podcasts. We're on YouTube. And we want to thank you guys for listening. Seriously. We really appreciate you guys. Without you guys, the show wouldn't be going on. Big thank you to Tom at Adobe Radio and for everything that Adobe does for us. And Nice Guy Digital. To my social media team, T and Taylor, you guys are awesome. To you, Michael. Michael, I like you, man. Because you direct. You work hard. You're not lazy. You're a good person. You're a good person. I'm starting to talk like Chris D'Elia now in my daily life. Be sure to check out his podcast. Congratulations. That's also a great podcast. Anyway, thanks for listening. Be sure to check us out next week. Much love, guys. Take care. Bye.